Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. He pulled down the Scully and he says, stick him up, put it in the bag because I'm walking away with the cash, man. Jared Gordon, he basically outclassed Paddy Pimblett, man, for 2 of 3 rounds at the very least. But if you're looking at the final count, Paddy Pimblett did outstrike Jared Gordon 63-58 in terms of significant strikes. But when you look at the trajectory, if you look at the control time, if you look at just the ring generalship, I think Jared Gordon, man, just kind of put a clinic on Paddy Pimblett. And if we were questioning his chin before, he does have a massive chin, but this dude gets hit a lot, bro. Like, he was getting popped all over the cage. Left hook, right hand, left hook. It didn't matter. Even with the size discrepancy, reach advantage, it didn't matter. Jared Gordon was doing what he needed to do to win. At the end of that fight, when it was getting announced, and you saw Paddy Pimblett excited, happy, hand raised in victory, were you at any point like, come on, bro, the facade got to end at a certain point? Or do you think he was truly, legitimately confident and believed that he was going to win that fight?
I don't know how you can anyone can be truly wholly confident going into those judges, man, especially how we've seen through years and years of watching this sport. So I think it was a little bit more of a bravado, a little bit more of a show. You're going in, you have to be the, Paddy the Baddy, the superstar, the cash cow. And I think there's a little bit more of that, man, because I don't know, Derek, I know we're going to pull up the cards because I will be hard pressed if more than 5 judges gave that fight to Paddy, because this was as much as this was a good fight, a close fight. And I don't know if this weighs into it, Derek. You're gonna have to tell me too if this weighs into a little bit of your decision. When a guy comes in and says he's gonna have a breakout performance, he's gonna smash this dude. This dude can't hold, can't even hold my jock strap. You're coming in, you're talking all this shit, and then you have a decision. I think you lost the fight even more. Like, in my mind, that just, for me, you're talking all that big game. You come in here, you underperform. The guy looks really good. He has a lot of control time. Sure, you outstrike him, but this dude does a lot of damage to you. I feel like you lose the fight even more in my mind, but obviously that doesn't go into the judges. Derek, does that play into your mindset going into this as well? Like, I feel like, to me, Paddy the Baddy lost the fight as well as lost the extra fight after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'll touch on the other part first. Like, in terms of, like, the externals, right? Yeah, it was a bad week for Paddy Pimblett. You get 10-7 by Ariel Helwani, right? You get called out as a liar, just as a dude just making shit up randomly. Then Ilia Topuria at the press conference is like, dude, I'm going to whoop your ass. You're too scared to fight me. And then you fight Jared Gordon, say you're going to knock him out in the first round, say you submitted him twice when you rolled back in 2018, you get controlled, get taken down 3 times, controlled for 6.5 minutes, and basically everybody in the world thought that Jared Gordon won, because when I pull this up right here, you will see, even worse than Blachowicz on Kalaev, not a single person picked for Paddy Pimblett. You have like 30-27s for like 10 people. Everybody else 29-28 across the score for Gordon. Actually, you had one person, Dan Urban, couchside judges. All right, come on. Armchair quarterback from right here for sure. But listen, brother, I'm just saying, this is what I'm going to say right here. Bad, terrible week for a Paddy Pimblett. And when you're looking at how the judges scored it, man, like, they couldn't even agree on what rounds like Paddy won. You got 10 first and second round for Pimblett, second and third round for Pimblett, and then you have first and second round for Pimblett again. Like, you can't even agree on that. So at the end of the day, rough stretch for Paddy Pimblett. He did get the win, and now he is addressing it. This is the question at hand. He's doing the thing that he should do. He's really taking the Sugar Show approach and saying, I don't care what you say. I won the fight. I'm 4-0 in the UFC, and if you're telling me that I lost, then you're a hater. And it's really easy, AJ, I think, to dismiss people by simply just like saying, hey, well, you're a hater, whatever, I won. Because at the end of the day, on paper, he did win, and that is true. And we're going to forget about this in 6 months when he fights again, because at the end of the day, on paper, he won. So this is my question to you. Everyone said Jared Gordon was this handpicked opponent that UFC was setting Paddy Pimblett up so he can get this big victory and he can get the star power and all that first pay-per-view. What do you think now, man? Has the rub for Paddy Pimblett worn off massively, because he looked terrible in this performance in comparison to the expectations going in? What do you think?
Yeah, man. It seems like it has. I feel like the luster, the sheen of the Paddy Pimblett has kind of fallen off a little bit. The gimmicky of the haircut and all these things coming in, all the big game, all the talk, all this stuff has kind of lost a little bit of its shine. And I feel like at the same point, a lot of the diehard fans are really also kind of falling off the Paddy the Baddy train as well. Good news for him, he's always going to have the casuals. He's always going to have the dudes that are willing to drink beer and put the wig on and shout for the cameras. So he's always going to have a draw. But I think a lot of the hardcores, you really start to lose a little bit, not necessarily respect, but you start to fall fall in line, and we start to really see where Paddy is kind of aligning himself as a fighter. So sure, he does look a little bit, like I said, unpolished, or not as devastating as he was. But does he also lose the same of that kind of stuff I'm talking about for you too, Derek, or is this just me?
I think in the eyes of the odds makers, things are going to change massively for his upcoming fights, man. We just see right now he's not ready for a top 10 guy, not really ready for a top 15 guy at this point. If you can't get past Jared Gordon, you can't, like, and we have said Jared Gordon, this unranked guy who was going to be his toughest test, and this was his toughest test so far, but it's just like the inability to really do anything effective necessarily. Like, he had to use these big explosive motions, but he was getting controlled, man, getting outstruck, everything. It was rough. He did outstrike him on the feet, like number wise, but when you watched it, the eye test, you're like, wow, Gordon is clapping this dude clean time and time again. Shout out to that chin though. Paddy Pimblett, the saga is to be continued. But I will just say, man, also you're the biggest, baddest dude. Everyone came to watch you perform, and you were the first decision on the card. So that's another thing right there. But Jared Gordon is taking it in stride, and he says, listen, I got robbed, but I do know God's plan. Good things are going to come out of this. Shout out to Jared Flash Gordon. All right.